All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm Janie Maxwell. I'm the Executive Director of the Illinois Farmers Market Association, and we are really excited to have Libby Irvin from Glacier's End Farm, FoodWorks, and the ILFMA Board President with us today to talk about Vendor 101. And so we'll get started with that in just a second, but I did want to go ahead and tell you just a quick overview about the Illinois Farmers Market Association. That's my contact information. If we can ever be of help to you, please let us know. info@ilfma.org comes directly to my inbox, so it's probably the easiest one to remember. We do work across the state of Illinois as the umbrella organization that supports farmers markets. We provide training and education and best practices for farmers, for vendors, for farmers markets, and we just try and encourage markets to go to the next level of excellence for themselves. We know each market is completely different. We know each vendor is completely different, but there are some commonalities, and what we try and address is some of those common things and those best practices. So training, we do advocacy and education, or advocacy and try and stand in the gap or identify ways to address barriers that vendors or markets are having selling at farmers markets. Most recently, we've been working a lot on food safety across the state for different aspects of selling through farmers markets. And then the last thing we do is we try and promote farmers markets, talk about all the benefits, why farmers markets are an important part of the local landscape, what they bring to communities, and we'll take any opportunity we have to talk about all the benefits. We are a membership organization, and so we would really appreciate your consideration. There are a couple things that you get discounts on if you're members of ILFMA. That's kind of how we set it up. We don't limit our material to members only because we really do want to grow this local food system and farmers market system. But at the same time, there are some perks, like I said, if you are a member of ILFMA. One of the things to consider, it is April 10th, I think, and April 11th is the closeout for nominating your market or a market that you know of for what we call the Cream of the Crop Awards. It's the first year we've done it, but we want to highlight Illinois markets and some of the excellent work that they're doing, whether it's about promotion or programming or social media or events. And I can tell you that you would have a fast track to being potentially the winner of this year's Cream of the Crop Awards, because since it's new, we have very few entries in each category. So again, I would encourage you to look at that if you're interested. And then please sign up for our newsletter. When you go to ilfma.org, there is a news tab, and the very first thing you can do is sign up for our newsletter. That's the best way to stay in touch. We try and send out information from some of our partner organizations in addition to things that ILFMA is doing, funding opportunities, grant opportunities, whatever the case may be, but that's the best way to stay connected to ILFMA and the information that we have to share. We also do something that's called Market Mondays, and it's just a convening of people that have anything to do with farmers markets. We're very pleased to partner with the Illinois Farm Bureau on this event. And each month we have a discussion topic. We have some updates on our partners from Link Up Illinois. And it's just a place for anybody within our system to ask questions, get some input, and share some really great ideas. And these have, we just started in November, but we've been really pleased with the number of people that have been attending. It's the kind of thing where you can hop on 1 month, and if you can't make it the next, that's fine. But once you register, you're registered for all of the Market Mondays. Something that I thought might be valuable to people on this call is that we have been part of a team from IDPH, Public Health, farmers market managers to create, well, not really create, but revise the Farmers Market Food Safety Guide. And this would be a huge resource to any of you that are selling food at the farmer's market. It's on our website under the resource tab as well. That's where you'll find the cottage food guide that has been put together again by University of Illinois, Illinois Stewardship Alliance, and then that same group of partners I mentioned before working on food safety. We use a common database among a lot of local food partners. It's called Market Maker. You can access it by going to ilfma.org and clicking on the Find a Market tab. And you'll see on this slide, probably hard to see, but it says Powered by Market Maker. You hover over that and it will take you to Market Maker, where you can either create or update your profile within the system. Once you update or create this profile, it is then shared with all of our partners across the local food system, and you would be searchable across all of these partners. And so I highly encourage you to do that, especially if you're a vendor. There is quite a bit of local food money out there now, and we do know of partner organizations looking for particularly farmers to meet some of those needs for supplying local food. So even if you have a profile within Market Maker, please go in and update it. There's some new features that we would highly recommend that you fill out. And the more robust your profile, the more searchable it is. This is just a few of the partners that also share our database. And so it expands the reach of your organization by partnering and creating a profile within Market Maker. And then we also have a phone app that then takes the information in Market Maker and puts it into a phone app. Unfortunately, it's not available traditionally. You have to do it through our website, but it's a great way to find out about markets and vendors, what's in season, where you can find it, all of those kinds of things. And we're really seeing the need for technology that's phone-based, because we really see a transition from home computers, personal computing, to phone-based. So just a quick overview. Anybody have any questions I can answer before I turn it over to Libby?
Nothing yet.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to turn it over to Libby, and you should be able to share your screen.
Up here and running. Be just a second.
Was there a login for Market Maker?
Oh,
Yes. It is Illinois Market Maker, and I believe .com, and
Okay.
or you can find it on our Find the Market page, and then you can log in if you already have an account, or you can create one from that page.
okay.
Right.
Okay. Can you guys see this now?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. So we're small but mighty crew today. So if you guys have questions as I go through anything, please feel free to stop me while I'm going. Okay. As Janie said, my name is Libby Irvin. I'm the president of the Illinois Farmers Market Association. I'm also the assistant director of FoodWorks down here in Southern Illinois. We're based out of Carbondale, and we're working towards bringing a sustainable food economy to Southern Illinois. So we do like a winter farmers market, farmer training, education. We are rolling out a new mobile farmers market, and then we have a farm beginnings program too. So I was previously the winter farmers market manager for 2 years. And then my husband and I own Glacier's End. We are a farm. We were cottage food and have since moved into a brick and mortar store here in Marion. So very involved in farmers markets, very near and dear to my heart. We still do a few farmers markets. So this kind of comes at the angle from the perspective of being a vendor and looking at farmers markets and maybe things to do. Okay. So first off, when kind of thinking about how to select a market or thinking about maybe looking into getting into farmers markets, I always recommend to people to really kind of list what you're looking for, what you're wanting to get out of it. So listing your kind of market needs and wants. Is it more that it's just a financial kind of avenue for you? Is it that it's also a social outlet? Is it something that you want to do in your community or other communities? Again, kind of thinking about, what is it that you're hoping to get out of doing at farmers markets. I also recommend researching and visiting markets in your area. This will kind of help give you an idea of what's out there, maybe what holes there are, if there's any kind of niches that can be filled. When we first started, we thought we were going to bring produce to farmers markets and went around to the different markets. And at that point, they were all very saturated and full with farmers. So we kind of realized we're probably not going to get into some markets like that. So that's when we came across cottage food, and it helped us to kind of shift gears a little bit. That's not always going to be the case if you're already growing stuff, if you already have animals, you may not have a lot of flexibility right at the moment, but in seeing and visiting other markets, you might get some additional ideas to bring additional revenue in for you. I also recommend looking at kind of market programs and offerings. One thing that's very important to my husband and I at our markets is being a part of a market that's really a community kind of gathering, a social thing. So programs that are offered Snap and Link, because it's going to make that market more friendly to the community. It's really getting food into the hands of people that need it. I like things that are a little bit more social. If they have music, that's good. And kind of just looking at different markets, maybe how long they've been there, things like that. And then in the market off season, we always kind of reassess, how did we do at this market? Is it something we want to continue? Are there any other markets that we might be interested in? So really, just as in anything, really kind of doing your homework, researching what's out there, so you can make really some good informed decisions for yourself. When you're thinking about your market needs, some things to consider. Again, thinking about your goals and vision versus the market mission, finding the right fit. There's some small towns that's the only market there, and you may not have a lot of option, but chances are there's maybe some other markets around you in your vicinity. So that's this next bullet point, proximity to market. How far are you willing to travel? We always wanted to stay really close, but we're put in touch with a market that's over on the way to St. Louis. So it's about an 1.5 hour drive each way. But I do that every Saturday in the summer, and it's a very profitable market. And it allows us to kind of expand what we're doing, expand our reach. So again, taking into time and consideration how long you're going to spend traveling, gas, things like that. Other things to consider, the location of the market. Is it indoors or is it outside? Is it on concrete? Is it on gravel? Is it on grass? Are there bathrooms there? What time is the market? What day is the market? Are you going to be setting up in the dark, or kind of just details of the market? Also looking at vendor fees, to see if that's kind of in alignment with what you're wanting to pay, what you can afford to pay. I know when starting off, vendor fees are a little bit difficult. But so just again, kind of keeping in mind and thinking about, what you want to do and what you can afford to do. One one of the big things is state and county requirements and fees. I highly encourage you, if you have not already talked to your local health department, to reach out to them, because they're going to be, you want them to be your friend. It's going to make your life a little easier being on good terms with them. But you want to know, are there any requirements or any fees to be selling in that county? And something that we've always faced is, we sell in different counties than where our farm is. So you want to reach out to those health departments to make sure you understand what is needed. Another big one is insurance. A lot of markets, more and more, are going towards requiring liability insurance. And I can't stress this enough. If you don't have liability insurance and you're doing markets or at events, you should look into it, because it's going to be to your benefit, to the market's benefits, and to your customers. If something happens, you want to make sure that you're covered. You also want to make sure if something happens to somebody else that you're covered. And, I've seen tents blow away. I've seen tents knock over other tents. So again, you just want to make sure you have the proper coverage. Also parking, are you able to park right at your spot, right by your tent? Do you have to drop off, unload, and move? Do you have to cart things in? All of these are things to really kind of keep in mind, because they can add up. And, some people may have some health issues that carting stuff in is not feasible, or we do a market that's on Saturdays that starts at 6 and there's no bathrooms. You have to walk to like a gas station. And I know that some people don't like that. So again, kind of keeping in mind these things about markets and their offerings. When researching markets, when thinking about where do you find markets, you probably know something that's in your immediate area. But if you're looking maybe outside that, as Janie mentioned, Market Maker is a great one that has listed markets all throughout the state. Talking to your local Farm Bureau, University of Illinois Extension Office, they're usually very up to date on markets in the area. Word of mouth, talking to other farmers, other vendors. I always say if a market is run very well, people will talk about it. If a market is not run very well, people will talk about it. And vendors and farmers are usually pretty good about kind of sharing experiences. The market that we go to over by St. Louis, another farmer had told me about it and said, hey, I think you guys would do good here. We do really well. We like it. So also social media, just looking online to see what you can find, and also websites. So again, all of these are good places. If you're starting to think about getting into a market, maybe you want to expand, of where to kind of look and see what's out there. Market research. So, I like making informed decisions, and we did this when we start, and we still continue to do it. I highly recommend, again, visiting markets. You can absolutely go right when the market starts, but it might be better to do it a little bit later in the market, because usually when the market starts, it's pretty busy. But that way you can kind of see what the layout looks like, what the culture is like there. Talking to a market manager, they might be able to talk to you the day of, or you can, maybe schedule a time to talk to them outside of the market. I always recommend asking long-standing vendors for feedback. Chances are if they've been in a market for a while, it's probably pretty good for them because they keep coming back. But talking to them to see, what is it that they like about the market? What are the offerings? And then using that feedback to help make, again, informed decisions. I also look at social media presence of markets, kind of how and where they're advertising, how often. Are they promoting vendors? Are they advertising and promoting the market? Hopefully they do have a social media presence. Also kind of looking to see how long has the market been around? How long has it operated? Long-standing markets are going to be probably more established and have a bigger customer base than a newer market. So just looking at that. And then the other thing I really look at is what is the variety of vendors? And I have in here /competition. I don't like using that word. But I think it's more, is there a large overlap of something that you're doing? If there's 10 vendors and 5 of them are baked good vendors, that's going to be probably a little tough to be able to stand out, or for the market to really be able to support all of those vendors. So I just always kind of look to see, how saturated is that market with something that's similar to ours. Also kind of looking at, and this might be more of looking online to see if they have information or talking to the market manager. Who runs the market? Is it one person? Is it a board? Is it an organization? And who's making the rules and regulations? And are those available for people if they're interested in applying? Customer base and attendance. Some market managers may give you this. Otherwise, sometimes I'll just go to a market and kind of look to see like what's the flow of it? What does the day look like? Also looking to see if markets offer a seasonal, like a permanent vendor versus a daily. And I've seen all types of markets do everything. Some of the bigger ones offer more kind of permanent spots. So looking at that. Obviously looking to see if a market is accepting new vendors. And again, that's probably talking to the market manager. Looking at requirements for a market. What is required to be able to sell at that market? Usually markets will have that information. They'll require tents, weights, signage, etc., things like that. But just getting that information up front, that way you're aware of what's needed. And I also mentioned again, bathroom accessibility. That's a pretty important thing to have during a market. And it's tough if it's not available. So again, these things, as you're looking at markets, thinking about them, this can really help you kind of just make more informed decisions of whether a market's for you or, if you need to be looking for something else. More kind of program offerings that I mentioned a few slides ago. So food assistance programs, why they're beneficial. This is going to increase customer base because it's making the foods more available and accessible and affordable to people that need it. So offering SNAP, offering the double link match, things like that. It's also going to increase vendor sales because these are dollars that if these programs weren't there, wouldn't be coming into the market. So again, it's going to be better for your customers and your vendors. They also grow markets because again, it's increasing your customer base, increasing your vendors base. And it really just makes it a more welcoming environment and market to all the community members. Also provides access to healthy food to your community regardless of income. So like I said, it's just making it a better shopping experience for everybody. Other programs that are usually can be offered, kids club activities. Our winter market started doing this probably 2 or 3 years ago. And the O'Fallon Vine Street just started, I think, last year. And these have made huge differences in a market in bringing more people in because there's stuff for their kids to do. So again, it just makes it a more kind of family friendly market. community partnerships. I love seeing markets that are doing this because community organizations are bringing their information in to farmers, to vendors, to customers, to the community. But they're also advertising to their network. So it's really expanding the reach of getting that marketing out there. Cooking demonstrations. A lot of people are going towards this with colleges, different chefs, things like that. Anytime you can show people how to use some of the stuff from the market and let them taste it, it's going to be a win-win for everybody. Music. I see a lot of markets offering some type of music. And again, it just makes it a more kind of pleasant shopping experience. And they make for just really a more family-friendly environment for everyone. In the off season, like I mentioned, I continue to kind of do research. We sit down and kind of assess each market that we've been in, looking at, was it profitable? Was it really in alignment with our goals and kind of the reasons why we're doing the market? And then is it something we would want to do again next year? I think since we started Cottage Food 6 years ago, that we've probably done close to about 15 markets total. And in the first couple years, we really did kind of any market that we could. But then we've started to kind of cut back on some of those from assessing this in the off season of, maybe it was too far or, maybe they just had too much of what we were doing and it really wasn't profitable. So when that happened, then we kind of started to look into other markets and we kind of started expanding our reach again, seeing, it might be a little bit farther, but is it going to put us closer to the reasons of why we're doing the markets? And another thing I can't stress enough is using metrics for tracking. I will say I'm not the best technology person, nor am I the best financial person, but I've developed tracking that works for us so I can look at a market from last year to this year to see what the differences were. I keep track of all this because of our sales, because we report our sales tax. And I look for trends too, to see are some things selling better than others during certain times, or just again, using kind of that data to help make an informed decision and kind of just analysis of where we're at and what we're doing. So that is a pretty quick version of that. Does anybody have any questions? Is anybody there still?
I'm still here,
We're still here.
taking
Okay.
some notes.
Any questions we can answer?
Does anybody
I don't
do oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I didn't have any. I was just looking back at my notes.